What's going on, everybody? It's Zach Michael here, and today we are going to be making an R&B loop from scratch. So if you guys do enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out elizabethrecords.net. Let's go ahead and dive right on into it. So I'm going to load up Omnisphere because I'm going to look for like a nice pad sound to use. And I know I have a bunch of really nice pad sounds that I like using. So we're just going to go into one of my kits, search pad, and then just see what we can find. I like this one. I want to tweak the attack a little bit. Go. Another thing I'm going to do is just add a compressor to make this louder. So I'm just going to go here, vintage compressor, and just boost the gain. Make it louder. To be fair, I could put that on the mixer as well, but just for sake of convenience, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we're going to put the key, E minor. That's what we're going to make today's loop in. Really choose any key, but I want to do something in E minor. And then what we're going to do is heavily slow this down to like 121 for now. That could always change, but that's that. So to start this off, we're going to kind of figure out the bass notes. I know I want this to be a 3-chord progression, so we're going to have the first chord be slightly longer than the second two, just for the sake of this melody. And then we're just going to build basic triads. So to build these basic triads, you're just going to skip a note in the scale in between. So like this A, skip, then click the B in, skip the C, but click the D in. So that's going to be that. But then I'm going to make these bigger, so I'm going to add one more, like that. And then I'm going to add a tension note here, which is just 2 notes that are right next to each other. And what we're going to do is strum this chord here. We're going to raise those up an octave, like that. This is our bass level. I think what I'm actually going to do though is change the pad. Yeah, we'll go with this pad instead. Yep. So that's going to be like kind of our bass layer. Next I'm going to open up Electra X. Try to find another sound in here to add on top of things. Go into like a drum vault one and try to find something. Like this. Sounding ARP. Just gonna take the top notes of the chord. Place that up an octave. That's just kind of there in the background. You can hear it a little bit, but it's one of those sounds that you feel more than you hear. A lot of times when I create R&B samples, I always try to have like one sound that you feel a bit more than you hear. Just kind of a sound that creates some movement. Just a sound that kind of exists a bit in the background, a bit more subconscious, if you will. And now we're going to throw in the bass notes. Now what I actually did here was instead of taking the same bass notes on one of these, I decided to switch it with this instead of the original bass note. And that's just so there's some variation on the synth bass here, because if I'm going to do a loop, I want to try to have there be some things that switch up between the first 4 bars and the last 4 bars. And one of the ways to do that is going to be use a different note. And the last thing I'm going to do is end up cutting the last like 4 half here of the note essentially. So like if you see this 2 section, I'm cutting that in half. And then I'm doing the same thing over here in the 4th bar, just so where the synth bass cuts in, cuts out. And I'm just turning that down, volume, like that. And then I want to actually add a bit of my own like perk layer to this. So what we're going to do is take one of the perks from my kit, one of my lo-fi kits, and we're just going to go ahead and kind of tweak the sound a bit, throw some reverb. And I'm just going to go like that, just so cut out some of those frequencies. we're just gonna kind of create a bit of a sort of like perk loop in and of itself. For halftime on that. At like 85%. Now I just have this little like texture underneath. Now let's get started on the mix. So, start with the main pad. I'm gonna throw a bit of an EQ in the lows. Kind of filter out some of the highs. That's really it for that one. Next, on this ARP that's in the background from Electra X, I'm gonna kind of throw a bit of a reverb on it. And I'm gonna boost some of the lows. There's not many lows in it, to be fair, but I'm gonna have those just a little bit. And on the synth bass, I like to throw a pretty fast distortion. I'm just gonna turn it down a bit. And then we're gonna chop some of these highs. I put it in like a low pass filter. And just kind of have that little sound effect perk loop we kind of already did. Just like that. Now arrange this. What I like to do to arrange all my loops, I render out every single section. And this is just so that way nothing bleeds into each other, either with effects or even just built into the sound, because sometimes that'll happen. What I'm noticing here is with this ARP, it kind of like comes in a bit. So what we're actually going to do is just cut that like that. That way we don't have that little kind of like delayed section. So the way I like to arrange all my loops is pretty simple. In the first 8 bars has everything. Second 8 bars has everything minus the synth bass. And then I bring in like one element in the synth bass, one element in the synth bass. Then I bring in each individual element with the main pad. And I kind of just throw the stems at the end like that. So you could chop these up and rearrange. If I sent this out to another producer and they wanted to, I don't know, re-pitch something or put new effects on it or remix it, etc. By giving them those stems at the end, they can do that. But that was me creating an R&B melody loop from scratch. So if you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out ElizabethRecords.net. Thanks for watching. Head on over to ElizabethRecords.net if you'd like to support me. You can purchase VST expansion banks, drum kits, loop kits, and MIDI kits that'll level up your production there.